Tripti, Avinash, and Anvita, thank you for talking to me, and thank you for a great cinematic experience. Bulbbul was lovely. Uh, Anvita, I'm going to start with you. I mean, you worked before with Amit Trivedi, but as a lyric writer, if I'm not mistaken, you worked on Shandar, you worked on Queen, and here he is doing the music for your first film, your debut film. Was that on your checklist, saying if I direct for the first time, I've got to have Amit Trivedi as a music director? And apart from the fact that he's a genius, um, what do you think is special when you and him get together and collaborate?
Like I said, like you said, rather, that Trivedi's pure genius. So why wouldn't I work with him? As a lyricist, the experience is very different because you're writing to his melodies. As you know, you are from the music industry. You know, we are given the melody and we write to it. And I always tell Trivedi that your melody has lyrics embedded in them, and it makes my life really easy. I'm just cheating. People think, oh, what nice lyrics. Actually, they were already there. But what I always felt was that he tells stories with his melodies. He gets that part of it. So the storyteller in me has always been very, very fascinated with the way he composes. I also feel he's known for his songs. I also feel that his scores are stunning, whether you see Udan or you listen to Udan or Devdi or Lutera. His scoring is brilliant. So I fully took advantage of my friendship with him, and I just announced that he's doing my film to him, and he said, of course, Anvita ji, and he just came on board without even reading the script. But I thought that he has the soul and the sensitivity to do a score for a film like this, which has a lot of silences, which has a lot of no songs in the film. So yes, he was the choice for it, and I was really lucky that he said yes.
Tripti, I haven't seen you since Leila Majnu, and I remember very clearly that I met you at Avinash and yourself at Ekta Kapoor's office, and you had made one statement. You had said that there was a point when you wanted to really start focusing on TV all over again because there were so many rejections and auditions leading up to Leila Majnu. And unfortunately, us journalists, most of the time we meet you only before the release. We don't get to meet you post till the next release happens. So has that changed? I mean, post Leila Majnu, has the phone been ringing more often for work? Like this one, for example, for Bulbbul.
No, that didn't happen. Honestly, I was expecting, that people would call me for work post Leila Majnu, but that didn't happen for a long, long time. It was a long wait for me, almost a year at least. And I have a very funny story to tell regarding this. I was out in market and buying vegetables with a friend, and my film was going to release in a week from then, and I was like, oh, after my film's release, I'm not going to be going buying vegetables in the market like this because I'm going to be famous and people might recognize me, but कुछ नहीं हुआ वो. I still go and buy vegetables. But the thing is that I was expecting to get a few calls because the film was reviewed really well and people spoke really, great things about the film and the performances. But then, TK, जो भी हुआ उसके बाद I started auditioning again and I did get a couple of, offers and a couple of scripts, but nothing was interesting. And I actually wanted to wait for a script like Bulbbul because I feel that, if you don't agree to the script, if you don't agree to the character that you're getting offers for, then there's no point doing it. Then there's no point saying yes for it because then that way you'd just be wasting the time of the makers and you won't be doing justice to the character and to the story. So I wanted to wait for the right opportunity, and that's when Bulbbul happened for me. So yeah, I think and Bulbbul has just been a great experience for me from day one to this very day. I think it was a great learning experience for me as an actor. If you see my character in the film, I'm sure you've seen the film, right?
Yep.
The character has an amazing graph, and it has a lot of layers to it. So for me to go from that innocent girl to a strong, powerful woman, there was a lot of scope of acting, and yeah, I think as it was challenging, and as actors, you're always looking for roles that can challenge you and that can compel you to come out of your comfort zone. It was one such role.
So never say never. Who knows? When more and more people see Bulbbul, once it's out, then that phone will just keep ringing.
Yeah, never say no.
And you won't be able to go and buy vegetables. It just goes no
I
more,
don't
no
mind
more
that
momos. No more momos on Lokhandwala back street for you.
On Lokhandwala back street, lovely. Avinash, you're a bit of a writer too, bro. I've appreciated your song, your lines on social media. So it must be fulfilling working with an accomplished writer like Anvita. Have you got to show off some of your work? And what does your director think of your writing abilities?
I remember the first time we met in Clean State office, and I said, तुम कुछ लिखते लिखते हो? I said, हाँ मैंने भी लिखा है, and she made me sing it, and I'm a pathetic singer, so I did remember singing. वो आओ हम तुम लौट जाए वाला. So I sang that song. I sang that song to her, and she was kind. She said, "हाँ हाँ, अच्छा लिखते हो," and that was nice. But हाँ, ठीक है. It's. I mean, there's no comparison at all. I write whatever I feel like. Some like it. Most times you don't care about people liking it. You just write it because you want to.
Yeah, you write for
Fair
yourself.
enough. You write for yourself, yeah, totally. So, you wrote Filori with Anshay Lal directing, and now he's your creative producer in Bulbbul. What are the things, Anvita, that Anshay added to your vision for Bulbbul as a film?
Starting from first off, the casting of Rahul Bose. That is Anshay's input. It was his idea to approach Rahul Bose, and I think that's one of the best decisions we took for the casting of Indraneel. And then because he's more experienced, he's also a friend. And Clean Slate, actually, if you meet all of us together, we really are like a bunch of friends. Karnesh, Anushka, Anshay, me, Sudeep, we all share each other's scripts, we read, we give feedback. So it was really like, how, like a college project kind of a thing. So, yeah, and he's so experienced in VFX, so that was a very important help. He could also foresee, things on set, back end of set, like because he has worked on a bigger film and that kind of thing. So he could always, as a friend, mostly say, listen, you have a vision, follow it through. Don't get worried that, because I have to make the day, or because this might be difficult to do, or this I might not get these many dates from someone, that I might not be able to achieve what I want to achieve. He said, no, dig in your heels, because you know what you're doing, just follow your vision through. So he was actually great for confidence building. So that for me was fabulous to have someone like that on board.
Wonderful.
Never thought you needed it.
Movies. Tripti, the thing about movies set in other times, which is basically period films, is that there are no living references for what you have to recreate on the screen. I mean, child marriage doesn't exist anymore. It didn't exist in our lifetimes. So, what were the tools that you used to work on your character on Bulbbul?
First of all, I think I don't completely agree with you, because when I got the script and I got the opportunity to play Bulbbul, the first thing I did was I did a research on all the child marriages, and what I found out was that even today in India, 27% of girls are married off before the age of 18 and 15, so it still exists. But my preparation for this character was, we had good 2 months to prepare before the start of the shoot, where me and Anvita, I sat extensively with Anvita and we discussed the character in detail. Anvita had, created this character, and we together tried to create her world. We together tried to, understand her journey, her world, the people that are there in her life, and kind of worked on her mental state, because this is a character who goes through a transformation. She's a completely different person at the start of the film, and through the course of the film gradually transforms into another sort of a person. So we had to understand the mind state of both, because Anvita made it very clear right at the beginning that you're going to be playing two completely different personalities as one person. So it was, a bit challenging for me at first. Not playing the innocent part, but for playing the one that's authoritative, that the one that's courageous, because I personally, I feel that I'm more close to the one that's, innocent and that is clueless about things, and not to the one that's courageous and powerful. So we had to really work hard on that, and for that, I was asked to focus on my inner self and focus mainly on my journey. And you know we as people, I believe, we tend to judge other people a lot. That's something that we do. The minute we see them, there is something that happens and we start judging them, and we don't do it deliberately, but it happens. So my preparation for this was because she's a girl who doesn't really care about anybody, and she's a girl who is complete in herself. The first thing that I was asked to do was, you know uh, stay clear from judgments and stop judging people, because uh, if you are comfortable in your own skin, if you're feeling complete in yourself, then that's something that you don't do. Because uh, then there's, sorry, what was I saying? I lost the track of my.
No, we get what you're saying. I mean,
Yeah.
I understand now the tools that you use to work on it. So, Avinash, Rahul Bose plays your elder brother in the film, and in that sense, there's a lot of love. There's a great fear and love that your character has towards his character. So, did you know Rahul from before to get the tonality of that character, the brothers and their relationship right? Did you have to workshop a lot? Let's talk about that.
Uh, no, I met Rahul straight off for this film. We did a few workshops, yes. Atul Mongia did workshops with us, and I think we did a few scenes together. I think also what helped was I have seen Rahul. I mean, for the longest now, I still remember growing up watching films like Sniff and so many more. I should keep joking of his rap. I said, "पहला rap तो आप ही लोगों ने किया था, खाने का, पीने का, मरने का, जीने का." So I've seen him. I've looked up to him. The way he's the kind of work he has done overall. So there was a huge amount of respect that already came before we started the film. And considering we are actors, I think we can develop our chemistry from that starting point. It wasn't that difficult. The workshops definitely made a huge difference for all of us.
Anvita, Bengal and India of that era really fascinates me, and also it shocks me. I mean, if you look at the child marriage, the ostracizing of widows, but then also having Raja Ram Mohan Roy in the Renaissance movement. So, did you have to read up a lot, study, not just for this film, but otherwise? Does it interest you because you're a voracious reader?
Yes, in fact, a huge influence was Tagore, because he was writing stories set in that period. And for me, especially the way he wrote his female characters with such sensitivity. There's strength there, but there's also hopelessness. There is a sense of there are so many things that were transforming in that period for everybody. There were interesting, strong women there, but ordinary, everyday woman was stuck in behind the threshold of the house. And for me, what surprised me was when I was reading it, I was like, the threshold has shifted a little, but it seems to still exist for a lot of women. But more than that, I think it was just that to tell a fairy tale of this sort, set in that kind of a period, where the aesthetics were of a certain kind, where the age of reason was overlapping with the age of intuition. That for me was really, really fascinating.
Tripti, a lot of the film has got to do with the pain as well as the divinity that resides in women. I remember seeing a very interesting a post which even Avinash has shared, where Anvita talks about divinity inside. And obviously, playing this sometimes broken, sometimes powerful woman must have really impacted you a lot. So, Tripti, as a person, how much have you grown? How much has this impacted you, post this film? Has it been cathartic of sorts, just being on this film?
Not at all, I think, because when you're acting, you're acting. You don't really let the process affect you and affect your mindset. You have to like be very clear about it, that whatever I'm going to do as an actor, that's my job, and I'm going to approach it and look at it as my work and not let it affect my own mental state. That's something that I always keep in mind. Plus the other thing is that uh, it's I think every film, every character that you play, every film that you do, every story that you do, it's there to teach you something. And with Bulbbul, what has happened is, uh, with the character that I was playing, I think I've started to respect myself a little more, and I've started looking at myself in a different light, and I've started, giving more importance to myself and less to the world, because this is exactly what my character in the film was going through, as the 20-year-old Bulbbul, as the innocent person. And while doing it, I realized that we give other people so much power over us,
Sure.
and we do it for nothing. So I think we shouldn't do that, and we should totally, keep ourselves first and make ourselves a priority. And yeah, that's my biggest learning from the film, and I think, and I hope that I keep this in mind forever. But it has definitely, made a difference.
So Avinash, because Tripti and yourself are friends, you've done an entire film before this also. What's the best thing about her as a friend? And as far as Anvita is concerned, professionally, the best thing about Anvita as a director, and the best thing about Tripti as a person.
So first thing, I'll start with Anvita. Anvita, I keep saying this, and today we have spent a lot of time, that the clarity and confidence that she has is extremely rare. Along with that, there's an aesthetic sense which I have personally not seen with people around me, which is why I think she cast me in the film as well. Uh, coming to Tripti, she's the worst friend that you can have. It's a fact. She's the she's the worst one when it comes to a friend. She's like, listen, I need you right now. हाँ हाँ रुक जा मैं बाद में फोन करती हूँ. And then 3 days later she's like, oh, what did you? So yeah, which is why she's the worst friend that you can have. Yeah, like you'll spend an hour sharing to her, and after you're done sharing, and you'll hope that she'll say something which is, it's like the last thing that after I've shared whatever I had to, she'll say, "Acha chai bana ke lao." So she's one of those.
Anvita, your idea or Karnesh's idea, Ansha's idea to repeat the Laila Majnu casting, or Anushka's idea? I mean, these two look wonderful on screen together, but
I know they do, but it's actually quite funny. I have Casting Bay as the casting agency, and they were showing me auditions, non-stop auditions, because we really hunted for Bulbbul. Took us a long time to find her, and Satya, because that pair, which is it's a magical pair. So I cast the two of them on the basis of the audition. I had not seen Laila Majnu. I had no idea. I had no idea. They told me, but we've just had, I had a conversation with Avinash, and he asked me who's playing Bulbbul. Have you found a Bulbbul? I said, there's possibly this girl. She's very good. I'm still locking on her, and her name is Tripti. And he's like, Tripti what? And I said, Dimri. He's like, Arre, because of Laila Majnu. I said, what Laila Majnu? So I said, oh. I was like, oh, so the thing is, in my defense, and it's a lovely film, I saw it then after they spoke about it. Because I was in the middle of prep and writing my film, I had not been watching anything. And then he was like, so I said, oh, do you know her? So then he was like, I just did a film with her. And that was exactly Tripti's reaction. She was like, I was like, this person, Avinash, this actor, very interesting face, very interesting eyes, performs with his eyes. And she's like looking at me like this, are you serious? So yeah.
That is hilarious. Avinash, Paramrata Chattopadhyay is really a national treasure. There's no other way to describe him. We have a Bong house help, and I said, I'm going to be doing an interview with him, and all of a sudden I developed more respect in her eyes. and obviously, And obviously, hanging with an actor like that, your performance improves. There's no doubt about it. So, your experience of working with Parambrata, and hats off to casting bay to Anvita. We need to see more of him in traditional Hindi cinema. It's wonderful to see him. So,
Param, I
your
have
moments
to interrupt.
on camera and off with Parambrata.
Sorry, I have to interrupt here. Param was cast without auditions or without casting bay. He had done a film Pari with Keen Slate. Yeah, so, and he's a friend, and his story is also fun. So he got a very official email from Clean Slate saying, we need to talk to you regarding casting you in a film, and we'd like to know your availability. It is for a new director, and so he messaged back. He was shooting in London. What's the film called? Bulbbul. So he had already read the script 2 years before that as a friend. So he calls me up from London.
Wow.
He said, I have just got a message. Bulbbul, it's happening. He said, I am doing it. I said, you want to know who you're playing? He says, I don't care even if I'm playing a chair. I am doing your film. So he came on board like that. So yeah, sorry, I interrupted your question to Avinash.
Yeah, great scenes. Avinash, great scenes between you and Param. Amazing scenes. So that whole thing coming together. Talk about that.
I actually wanted to say this about everyone on the film, and not specifically Param. When I walked in, I have this problem in my life that I think I'm the smartest man in the room, and and when I met all these talented people around, there's so much of learning that happened over all these. I think we shot for about a month and a half, and that whole process of engaging with artists like Param, who just makes it so effortless. It's like I that's one thing that I've really aspired to as an artist, to get to a point of complete effortlessness. That's whatever work that you've put in doesn't come while you're presenting it, while you're executing it, and that is something that just comes so smoothly and effortlessly for Param. He walks in, and there is a shift, and you don't even realize what has happened. He just moves through, and he's just so smooth. That's a word that I can really come up with right now, and that's great learning as of now, to be just part of this whole group of people that I engaged with on this film. Also, I want to make a special mention for our DOP on the film, Siddharth Divan, who I think has done a fantastic job on the film. Rahul is there, Tripti and I had worked together. Pauli, there are a couple of scenes that I think she has done, which is fantastic. So when you're sharing space with them, you have to pull your socks up, and you need to be there and still be so effortless, still be
and
so
smooth.
You're
no longer the smartest man in the room.
You just realize that maybe that adds to your smartness. Then the moment you realize that you're not smart is when you get the smarter one.
Anvita, I know this film challenged the dialogue writer in you, the screenwriter in you, the filmmaker in you. But I was wondering if you were able to draw upon your reservoir of talent writer. Did you write any lyrics at all? I noticed that there's a very tumri kind of sound in the bags, also a bit of Swanand, Kirkire. Any of your lyric writing in the film?
So actually, no. All my Swanand, Amitabh, Kausar, Varun have scolded me so much. They were like, "How can your film not have songs?" I was like, because the story doesn't want there to be any song. And even that little bit of what you're calling the Tumri part that we did was actually just a trippy thing I wanted to do, because when I'm writing a script, I listen to music in loop in my headphones when I'm writing. So I was listening to Rag Puriya by Bhimsen Joshi, and that would play in my head. So I told Trivedi, I was like, in this moment when this cut happens, I want Rag Puriya to play, because in the background, it's a very gentle thing. There's a woman sitting with a tanpura behind Bulbbul. And I was like, I want Rag Puriya to play. And then he was like, Anvita ji, uspe words dal do. So we just for joy, we added those few lines of lyrics to that. Swanand is actually saying like a mantra type thing in the background. That was just written to as a just a layer in the background. It's an audio bar, but it's not really lyric written. But I was, in fact, there are not many dialogues in the film. So for a dialogue writer and a lyric writer, I held back.
The silences speak. The silences speak a lot. I mean, it's beautiful. My belief is that it is a journalist or a presenter's responsibility to not share spoilers, especially when it's such a beautiful film and you want to grip people. So I hope you guys have noticed I have not talked about the Churel part at all. But what I want to sign off with, because it's not a spoiler, and you say there is a Churel in the film, is, did you guys ever believe in a Churel? You know, as children, as kids, you know, they say like Dada Dadi ki kahaniyan, or even now, the idea of a Churel in as an urban legend or a rural legend with ulte pav. Let's have all of you react to that, starting with Anvita and then Tripti and then Avinash.
Oh, I always say that, when people say there's no proof that this thing exists, I always say, show me proof that it doesn't exist. So to me, these are symbols. These are symbols for visceral fears that people have. You know, how is a Churel born when a woman dies of violence? That's when she comes back from the grave. So that is how a Churel is born. And these are fears people have, that okay, if I go to this dark corner, you're afraid of the dark. You're afraid of what you don't understand. And that is the problem with everybody. When we do not understand the other, we are afraid of it. And that is what a Churel stands for. So yes, in the story, it's a myth and a superstition. But that is where the roots lie. And I believe in everything. It's fun to believe.
Of course it is. Tripti.
Yes, me too. I think I believe in ghosts and gods and spirits and all sorts of things. I've never had a personal experience of anything of the sort, but I've heard great stories as a kid from my grandparents, and I believe that they won't ever lie to me. So yes, I do believe in them, and I'm that person who still can't sleep in a room by herself. I have to keep all the lights on and the TV on, and then I go to sleep. So I very much believe in them, and yeah, I do.
Avinash, rational man or believe in them?
No.
No, I'm sorry. I don't believe in Churels. But what I do understand is I've heard people loosely call some women as Churel, even in today's times. That happens. They are Churel is here, and somewhere I feel it's more to when we see women in power with power and we cannot understand them, we find terms to and we use terms as loosely as Churel. And I think that is an ideology that we have definitely attacked enough. If I don't know if this is spoiler, but this is something that I personally feel is what we do in the film. Women with power, but maybe not something that you can easily understand. And when we don't understand, we just reject it. Yeah.
Listen, guys, Anvita, make lots of movies. Don't ever just stop at the writing. Tripti and Avinash, wonderful talking to you. And thank you for Bulbbul, yeah? Cheers. Bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Hrishikesh.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.